the biggest thing that happened with civil rights, it created a unity between us. Our biggest problem has basically always been us. And that's that we have never been able to come together as a people to accomplish any real thing, which is the number one reason why we remain in the situation we are today. Even though some people have learned, our biggest problem still right now is not understanding how little you can accomplish doing anything by yourself.
I think our journey is changing. It's changing because there's different demographics now. There's different groups of people. The Hispanic population is outnumbering us, by leaps and bounds. There are different groups. Your gay and lesbian groups are now trying to tag to say that those are civil rights for them. And so our struggle in terms of making progress, I think, is the color is changing in terms of that journey. Where we are, we still have a long way to go.
I mean, my day, there was no television. So when you left the house in the morning, the only thing you had to worry about was being back home before it got dark.
Yeah,
and you stayed in the
lights come on, you got to be in the house.
Yeah, you stayed in the street till it got dark. You know what I mean? And that was even a problem trying to get back before dark. But you were with, you were with people in the community all day and all evening. Many places to go to, recreational. We played basketball till 10 o'clock at night, and no guns in those days. There were people, they had fights, but it was,
I think it was my generation when the guns started coming out. At this time, I don't feel like there's any other race of people who could be systematically set up the way we've been set up to fail and basically they've waged war on us for so long in terms of the drugs, the guns, the mass incarceration, the privatizing of prisons, and they're having quotas they have to fill. I mean, that's crazy. How do you have a quota you have to fill? The idea is to keep people out of jail in your country.
But they know how to get us because we're consumers. So they get us through consumerism. They get us through wanting to be like, instead of we're the original thinkers and the architects, so they should be trying to be, they already stole a lot of stuff.
Well, they take credit for everything.
Yeah, and take credit for everything, but we are the original architects, so we can get our kids back to that.
What's a re-education? They're miseducated in school. That's the problem.
It's funny, I heard a radio program the other day that was talking about the history of art and science. They talked about the Greeks, the Athenians, and all of that. No mention of
Egypt.
Timbuktu, Egypt, nothing. It's like they're wiping all that out of history, and that's where it all came from.
Right, the Greeks and Rome, they learned from us.
That's where they learned from.
I think that when our children are taught about slavery, they don't understand the brutality and what it does to the mind and what has been passed on in terms of that brutality. They don't understand, when they gloss over it. The worst thing that they think happened to a slave was, being whipped or having your family separated. They don't talk about what buck breaking was and how they had farms and how that has permeated into our community and introduced a lifestyle and a system of degradation that, permeates throughout our prison system. That whole raping of a man. They take a man and bring out his wife and kids and his everybody and rape him in front of them so that his young sons could see that.
I know that Brother KJ can relate to this because he already said, myself being a manager in the music game and stuff like that, like these brothers don't even want to know their contracts. They just want to work their talent. They'll be slave to their talent, to where you see all these Jerry Hellers and all these different people coming in and taking advantage of brothers, but permeating a message of destruction.
That's right.
To promote.
The whole rap industry has been tilted in that direction.
Yes.
All of the positive artists, the artists with positive messages, you don't hear them on the radio.
I remember the first time hearing NWA, and that was it. That was it.
That was the beginning of the end
because it changed our whole psyche.
And the sad part about it, the really sad part about it, and you're talking about NWA, they have their place. They have those people exist in terms of their experience. They had something to share and something to say, but there needed to be balance. The Public Enemy, the KRS-One, you know, the Jungle Brothers, and all of these people that were talking about. If there's balance, then we see the full picture.
Right.
But when you know what I mean, when you manipulate a situation, it's kind of like, in a sense, sometimes even with religion, if you create a sense of people feeling guilt.
Yeah.
And feeling less than. It has to be some sort of balance somewhere.
You look at the Jewish, the Chinese, the Japanese, everybody right now today, they teach their culture. Now, a few of us understand that our number one problem is that we've never had a culture to hang on to, and a culture is what keeps you together.
Absolutely.
And they understood when they brought us over here on boats, and they brought us from all parts of Africa, speaking different dialects, different languages, different tribes, put us together, brought us to a foreign country. Now they understood one thing: long as they could take our culture away from us, we could never come together to go against them.
Sure.
You understand? Well, that effect still exists. We can't come together to do anything together
No, we can't.
worthwhile. You see, now in the music business, in sports, we've come together to become champions. But outside of that, in business, you know, the music business, motion picture business, to do the business, you got to gather talent.
Sure.
Good talent. So you learn that you got to have a team. You understand? And this is the only place we've been able to succeed, is where we've had the opportunity to put a team together. Outside of sports and entertainment, we can't put a team together in business. Everybody's a single entrepreneur.
Right.
And no matter how much talent you got, how great your idea, if you're doing it as a single individual, you're going to do a meager amount.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Until you understand that you got to come together, put a team together, then there's nothing you can't do.
Thanks from Andrew, the group, in unity there's strength. You know, as 4 brothers, we lost a brother a couple of years ago, so there's 3 of us remaining. But that's one of our sayings, you know, in unity there's strength.
That's right. There's no power stronger than brain power.
Absolutely.
You see, so when you come together with 4 or 5 individuals thinking along the same lines with the same goals, hey, now you really create power.
That generation decided they were going to boycott buses and find ways to get to work in spite of that bus boycott, and something changed. We cannot, I mean, we hold so much economic power, but we can't seem to come together on an economic level, because that's where the power is. When you start affecting the bottom line, people all of a sudden, their ears open up and they start to be forced to deal with whatever your concerns are.